Today we are continuing our series on the inner critic with awareness of your inner critic. Hello and welcome to episode 277 of Namaste Yoga. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are here in Beacon Hill Park today. And thank you to Squeezed Yoga Clothing for our clothes today. Today I'm wearing one of the new bamboo long-sleeved tops with Dancing Ganesh on it, and it's a lovely plum color, one of my favorite colors. And I'm wearing the long black leggings with the Om Mani Padme Om mantra on them. And also thank you to Dusky Leaf for my props. I'm using a yoga mat today, and I didn't go through my notes to see what props I needed, but I've got my blocks nearby and a strap nearby. Today's postures are going to be pretty simple posture-wise because today's class is very much a mindfulness class. It's all about bringing awareness to our inner critics. So the postures are going to be fairly simple because the focus is going to be on awareness. So thank you so much to all of you who left comments and your feedback and just all the awareness that you had last week on the beginning of our series on the inner critic. And if you didn't do that class already, you really need to go back to class number 276 and start there with befriending your inner critic, because this series is going to be cumulative. That is, you're going to need to go through this journey together, starting from the beginning. And so you're going to need to bring that attitude of befriending your critic with you, that attitude of loving kindness with you into this class. And I want to share with you some of the feedback that we had from last week's class. Hannah on YouTube said, "Hi there. Even though I've been pretty silent, I've been following you in the membership site and on YouTube. I love the perspective of befriending my inner critic, and I never really thought of approaching her like that. I love how so many of you anthropomorphized your inner critic. A lot of you really hung on to the idea of the inner critic as a dragon. Lots of you actually gave your inner critic a name and made it into a little person or something in some way like that. And I think that's great. My inner critic has so Hannah goes on to do that, which is amazing. My inner critic has a perfect posture, a flat tummy, wears a crisp, sharp uniform, barking orders to match. Today, I realize she's probably just as exhausted from giving those orders as I am, from listening and trying to respond. We were both a bit uncomfortable, but I think the next few weeks will bring us to PAX. Maybe enough to enjoy a cup of herbal tea together. Namaste, dear Melissa." And Diane left a comment on my website at melissawest.com, and she said, "Hi Melissa, I really enjoyed this class. It's a whole new world just getting to know my inner critic and making friends with it as well. I'm looking forward to this 8-week journey. Thank you so much for all your knowledge and hard work. Love, Diane." And then Daniela on Facebook said, "I did this class today. When I ended, I had a different mood. I wasn't relaxed, only I was in peace. Thank you, Melissa." And then Michelle on the membership site said, "Dear Melissa, I love your latest creation, and like others, I am so excited about the next 8 weeks. I think that they will be so transformational for me. I love the idea of befriending my tiny dragon." So a lot of you really latched onto that reading at the end. It was, sometimes people say they don't really resonate with those poems that I read at the end, but that one you did. I love the reading at the end. It really tied it all together. Imagining my tiny dragon protecting me as a child is really comforting, but now as an adult, I don't have to believe everything he says. I also found it interesting how many of you gendered your inner critic as either male or female, so that was interesting to me as well. With the gentleness of loving kindness and compassion, I have the choice to listen and let go. Thank you so much for all of your feedback. I really do love hearing about your practice. So you can leave your comments on melissawest.com, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. And we always have the most in-depth conversations on our membership site. So today's class is about awareness. It's about opening all the doors of awareness to your inner critic, noticing how it shows up in your body, your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, your spirit. And we'll witness and watch the way that your inner critic shows up. And notice the extent that you're able to be aware of your inner critic as you go through your day. So let's begin by getting you to lie down on your mat. Just take a moment to tuck your shoulder blades underneath you. Check and make sure your chin and your forehead are level. If your low back is bothering you, you can bend your knees, place your feet flat on the floor. You maybe even want to press into your feet and lengthen out through your tailbone. And if your low back isn't bothering you, you can lengthen your legs out long. You might want to put a bolster underneath your knees. And take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it fall out of your mouth. And allow yourself to arrive here now. Notice what's happening with your breath. Then take a deep breath in through your nose and let it fall out of your mouth. Now shift your awareness to your physical body. Notice what's happening in your physical body. And also become aware of the things that your inner critic says about your physical body. And take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it fall out of your mouth. Bring your awareness to your thoughts. And then become aware of what your inner critic is saying about your thoughts. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it fall out of your mouth. and tune into your emotions. And as you open the doors of awareness to your emotions, just become aware of what your inner critic says about your emotional landscape. And then from lying on your back, bend your knees and put your feet flat on the floor. And take your arms out to a soft T beside you and just begin to sway your knees from side to side. Notice what's happening in your physical body. And notice any inner dialogue. Whoa, another dog. I didn't hear that one coming at all. That was fast. Notice any dialogue coming from your... That's 2 weeks in a row with the dogs. Notice any dialogue coming from your inner critic, wanting this, telling you that this should be different than it is, or that it isn't perfect. I have my eyes closed because the sun's right in my eyes. Okay, and then bring your... That was another kiss too, right on the lips. Just one kiss, just like the one last week, and then gone, just like the one last week. Okay. And then there's very little difference between a dog kiss and that mouth right on your mouth. It's a very strange feeling. Okay, so now we're going to take your left ankle over the top of your right thigh and open your left knee out to the side, and then draw your right knee in towards your torso. Reach your left hand between that space in your left leg and hold on behind your right knee. And you're going to draw your right knee in until you feel something happening on the outside of your left thigh and into your left buttocks. Keep your shoulders down away from your ears. And just notice when your inner critic just rears its dragon head or whatever. Maybe if you're... I love Hannah's description of her inner critic with the flat tummy and the crisp uniform barking the orders about if this isn't happening right, or, if you might need to adjust this in any way. But you're just trying to find that just right spot between too much and too little. And then just notice when that inner critic comes in and tells you you're not doing it right. And then release your legs down. And you're going to switch sides, so you're going to cross your right leg over the top of your left thigh, open your right leg out to the side, and then slowly draw your left leg in towards your torso. Reach your right arm through. Use your right elbow to open up your right knee. And again, just drawing your leg in until you feel that sensation happening in your right buttocks. If you're feeling it, you're doing it. And then release your legs down. Take your arms out to a soft T again. Keep your right knee bent. Extend your left leg long. Press into your right foot. Lift your hips. Tuck your left hip under, and then drop your right knee towards your left side. Look over your right shoulder. And on this side, ask yourself, to what extent are you able to become aware of and acknowledge your inner critic? And then you're going to roll back onto your back, press into your right foot, untuck your left hip, lengthen your right leg out. Pause here for a moment, allow your body to unravel. And then bend your left leg, press into your left foot, tuck your right hip under, cross your left knee over to the right side of your body, and then look over your left shoulder. And then on this side, ask yourself, to what extent is it not possible to recognize and acknowledge, bring awareness to your inner critic? So no right or wrong, no better best. We're just noticing today. We're just inquiring. And then roll back onto your back, press into your left foot, untuck your right hip, lengthen out through your legs. Pause there for a moment. Breathe. And then from here, you can bend your knees, roll to your side, make your way up onto all fours. And we're going to do Anjaneyasana here. You're going to walk your left leg through. Take your hands on either side of your left foot. And ask yourself, how can you witness your inner critic? And then switch sides. And step your right foot through. Lean forward. And on this side, ask yourself, how can I open to my inner critic? And then release. And you're going to come and find a comfortable place for sitting for our mudra and our meditation to receive the teachings for today. So I'm going to sit on a meditation cushion here. And you could sit kneeling on a yoga block, or you could sit on a chair. Today we're going to do the Ajna Chakra Mudra. It's for your third eyes to help you see more clearly. So today's class is all about awareness. It will help you to focus your attention and clarify your mind and improve your concentration. So the way that's going to work is you're going to take your left hand, extend your index finger, curl your 3 fingers down, and use your thumb to cover the nails of your 3 fingers, your index, your middle, and your ring finger. Then you're going to use your right hand to wrap all your fingers around the index finger. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your thumb and press it on the outside of the index finger nail bed. Okay? And it will rest on your lap. Okay, so you're going to hold this mudra on your lap. And you're going to focus on your third eye, up here with your eyes closed. That's where your focus is going to be. You'll close your eyes, focus upward there. And I will deliver the teachings here. This does feel a little awkward in the lap here. You could raise it a little bit. It feels a little bit better if you raise it to the level of just below your navel. That feels a little bit more comfortable than sitting it on your lap. See what feels better in your shoulders. Put it in a comfortable position for you. Okay, so remember, we're carrying that attitude of friendliness and inner kindness, loving kindness with us throughout our class this week. This is going to be especially important as I start to ask you the tougher questions after we get through these teachings. I'll remind you as we go. So the teachings are cumulative as we go in these classes. In today's class, we're going to bring awareness to the running commentary in our voices that have become so natural that we assume that voice is us, and that it is speaking the truth with a capital T. The idea is not to try to get rid of our inner critic, but to embrace and become aware of its presence. The more you try to get rid of your inner critic, the stronger it becomes. However, the more you bring awareness to your inner critic, the more you will be able to detach from it. So some of our inner critic's favorite statements are, and see if these are familiar to you at all. You are unattractive. Nobody likes you. You are selfish and mean. You are basically flawed. You're too fat. You're too old. You look ridiculous. You have no talent. You shouldn't have said that. Don't do that. You're boring. If you don't work twice as hard as everybody else, you'll never make it. You're an imposter. Now, you need to bring awareness not only to the words that your inner critic uses, but also the energy behind them. Notice that it doesn't tell you these things nicely. Your inner critic speaks in absolute truths. Your inner critic speaks as though a crime has been committed. So if you eat some extra cheese after dinner, it's as though you stole the Mona Lisa from the Louvre. Yeah. Your inner critic statements are judgmental, and it makes out and out pronouncements. It speaks in shoulds, and it loves to point out your mistakes. Through awareness, we can start to hear the voice of the inner critic. Hal and Cedra Stone point out 4 sub-archetypes of the inner critic: the pleaser, the rule maker, the pusher, and the perfectionist. The pleaser will be nice to another person, accommodate the wishes of others, and put their needs before their own. The rule maker makes up lists about what kind of person we should be and what kind of characteristics are acceptable. Your critic's job is then to make sure that you live up to the standards set by your rule maker. By the way, those standards are impossible for even any superhuman to achieve. Even if you have done a great job, then your inner critic will go to work on finding flaws on your inner attitude or some aspect of the performance. So, for example, if your rule maker decided that you, I'll go back to an eating example, you aren't supposed to eat after 8 p.m. and you did that, you didn't eat after 8 p.m., it would say, well, yeah, but you were grumpy while you did it. So then see how it still finds flaws? That's how it would do it. So the pusher and the inner critic are teammates. The pusher will push you to do more, achieve more, move forward, and get ahead in the world. You can always do it faster and better. By the way, the bar is always being raised by the pusher. So if you stopped eating by 8 p.m., the next night it would say, well, that was good, but now you should do it by 7 p.m. And then the next night it might be 6:30, so it would always be moving the bar. Your perfectionist wants you to look perfect, act perfect, and be perfect in all that you do. With the perfectionist, there is no such thing as priorities. Everything is equally as important. So it's just as important for you to set the table perfectly as it is to be perfect at your job, as it is to be a perfect mother, as it is to be a perfect sister, wife, as it is to be perfect at your yoga practice, as it is to be perfect at returning your books to the library, as it is to be perfect to, whatever, flushing the toilet every time, that's what I mean when I say there are no priorities. Everything is equal. There's no such thing as priorities. You have to do everything perfectly. Everything. So as we bring more awareness to our critic, we learn that our inner critic is a bit like a mirror that shows us a distorted picture of ourselves. What is good and beautiful about ourselves becomes distorted beyond recognition in the mirror. So I think Hal and Cedra Stone have the best advice for mindfully becoming aware of your inner critic. They suggest to tune into the radio station KRAZY, crazy. This is pure craziness, right? So that you begin to hear what your critic is saying to you. This is truly the first step to recognizing your inner critic's voice and detaching from it. So tune into radio station KRAZY. Notice who is on. This is exactly what happened to one of our members this week, and we had such great discussion with this all week long on our membership site. Carrie, she had such great awareness this week, and she wrote about it so beautifully and brilliantly on our membership site, and I'm so glad she shared her story, and she gave us permission to share it this week on Namaste Yoga. So thank you, Carrie, so much for this. So she's a yoga teacher, and she wrote about her insight that she had about her inner critic after last week's class. So she said, I received an email from my gym class director that she was canceling 3 or 4 of my yoga classes for the summer because of low attendance. I knew she was looking at class attendance in preparation for the May schedule, and I actually had been hoping that she would cancel 2 of my morning classes so I could help my dad more with his mowing. Oddly, when I got the email, my inner critic jumped up and said, "You must not be a good yoga teacher if you can't get good attendance." Wow, that reaction was not what I expected. So the rest of the afternoon, I was sad and a bit depressed. So this is precisely how our inner critic operates. Its pronouncements have very little to do with objective reality. In this example, Carrie was actually looking forward to helping her dad with the mowing. So her true self, her inner self, her higher self was actually very altruistic, wanting to help her family. But then her inner critic used the opportunity to make her feel inadequate as a yoga teacher. So begin to tune into radio station KRAZY and notice what your inner critic is saying on this channel. We can come to recognize that our inner critic is a critical voice and nothing more, nothing less. Awareness brings this perspective. So ask yourself, what DJ is on this hour? Is it the inner pleaser? Is it the inner pusher, the perfectionist, or the rule maker? Set your intention to become aware and begin to notice the role of your inner critic to criticize. That's its only job. It's not to make you a better human being. It's just to criticize. As you listen to these teachings, you are already detaching from your inner critic. So you're already becoming more perfect through your awareness. Your capacity for awareness is decisively greater than the original power of your inner critic. So I know that was a really long teaching today, and I don't apologize for that. I'm not going to let my perfectionist get on me about that. But as you take in all of that, I think it's really important. Begin to form an intention for what you would like to create, sustain, release, or let go of in your life. Okay, once you've formed your intention, then you can start to wiggle and stretch out. We're actually going to make our way up to standing now. So we're going to stand in Tadasana to begin. Take your feet right underneath your hip bones. Lift and spread your toes. Lengthen your legs long out of your pelvis. That'll lengthen your spine up. Let your arms rest down by the side of your body. Draw your head back over your shoulders. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it fall out of your mouth. And if you can, with your balance, close your eyes. If you have something to hold on beside you that will allow you to do that as well. And so many people have given their inner critic a persona, or their inner critic looks like something. A lot of people allowed their inner critic to take on that persona of the inner dragon that I read about at the dragon that I read about at the end of the last class. I loved Hannah's description of her little bossy boots with the crisp uniform and the flat tummy. So close your eyes and just ask yourself what your inner critic looks like. And each one might have a different look. Like the pusher might look different, the pleaser might look different, the perfectionist might look different. And now that you've got a clear picture of your inner critic or your inner critics, just bring awareness to what happens in your life when you let your inner critic lead. And then stand at the front of your mat, open your eyes to get there. And we're going to reflect on some of the ways that we interact with our inner critic. So remember to bring those attitudes of friendliness and kindness with you as you reflect on these questions. They're not meant to start to judge yourself. They're meant to open the doors of awareness. So they're just to bring awareness, to shine the light on, to reflect. So you're going to take a step back with your left foot. Thanks for cleaning my mat, honey. It's more sticky now. It was so full of sand from Tofino. Sink down through your front right sit bone. Turn your hips to the long edge of your mat. And you're going to bring your arms up to parallel to the ground. So just reflect on what mistakes your inner critic thinks you've made today. Remember, we're tuning into radio station KRAZY. And then release your posture from your body. Come and stand up to the front of your mat again. And this time, just shake it out a little bit and take a big step back with your right foot this time. Sink down through your front left sit bone this time. Turn your hips to the long edge of your mat again. Bring your arms up to parallel to the ground again. And just ask yourself, what does your inner critic think you could have done better? Remember, we're just shining the light of awareness here. It's just noticing, starting to bring awareness to this voice in our head that we take as truth. And then release and let this out of your body. Going to stand, you can stand wherever you want for this one. I'll stand facing you maybe. Take your hands on your hips. Draw your elbows back. Reach your sit bones towards your ankles. Lift your chest up towards the ceiling. And you're going to open. And as you open, you're going to ask yourself, what does your critic say you've overlooked? And then come forward. Bend your knees. Roll your pelvis over your leg bones. Fold forward over your legs. Drop your chin to your chest. Fold all the way down. And just notice what your inner critic thinks you should have done differently. Remember, we're tuning into radio station KRAZY. And then you're going to come all the way down to the ground. And we're going to come onto all fours. Bring your right knee forward, your left leg back, and stay upright. Now ask yourself, what part of yourself is your inner critic dissatisfied with? And then we're going to switch sides. So bring your right knee back. Bring your left knee forward to your left wrist, your left heel over to your right sit bone. Slide your right leg back and long. Stay upright through your spine. That sun is so bright. I'm even getting a glare on the white Kindle today. And on this side, just become aware of what self-improvement projects your inner critic has you working on. We like the electric vehicles. Okay. Then we're going to come around. You could actually take your back right leg, cross it all the way over your left leg. Do that so that your right leg is on top of your left leg for Gomukhasana legs. And if you're, see, I told you we're going to need these. If one of your hips is off the ground, you're just going to fill the space with the block. Okay, and then we're going to rotate to one side. So what is your growing awareness telling you about radio station KRAZY? So what is your growing awareness telling you about radio station KRAZY? Yeah, it's just the greatest analogy for that voice of the inner critic. And then twist in the other direction. And then shake out your legs. You guys probably don't need such a big shakeout as I did. We had a long cut there. And switch so your left leg is on top. Take a deep breath in. And fill the space with a block if you need to, if one hip is off the ground. And you can always do keyhole like we did on your back in the beginning, if this isn't working for your knees. And twist again. So to what extent can you become aware of something you usually take for granted about radio station KRAZY? And then rotate the other way. And then come back to the center. Release your legs, and you can lie back for Savasana. So rest back in Savasana and make yourself comfortable. I have a poem today that many of you will recognize. It's a very well-known poem, but I think it is a really good one that invites awareness. And it's Rumi the Guest House, so as I said, a lot of you will know this poem. But I think the guests that we are inviting in today are the DJs on radio station KRAZY, the inner pleaser, the pusher, the perfectionist, and the rule maker. And so we can think about inviting them in for tea, just like Rumi in the guest house. And when we do, we can think about really getting to know them like you would a guest in your home that you're having for tea. Really listening to the conversations that are going on in your head. Just like you would a guest in your home. So just maybe listen to this poem from a slightly different perspective today. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still treat each guest honorably. They may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Reflect back on the teachings from today and your yoga class and all the questions and everything that you brought awareness to. So what stood out? What seems most important to you? And then how does it relate to the rest of your life? What's the connection? What's one small thing that you're going to take with you off your mat and in? So we're just closing out Namaste Yoga, and a blue heron flew over my head as I was bringing everybody out of Savasana. So I looked up and saw it fly into the tree over me. And so Tim went behind me and started filming this blue heron up here above my head. And we took a pause from filming the end of the show and the end of Savasana so he could film this blue heron for you. These guys get quite loud in the spring. They actually start to sound like jackhammers at a construction site. When we're filming here, last spring we used to think they were, wow, that construction site's so loud. I wish we could find a time when there was no construction going on. You wouldn't know right now. They're not that loud right now. I guess maybe, I don't know when they get so loud. When they're feeding when the babies are bigger and they want their food. And so gradually allow your breath to deepen. Wiggle and stretch out. Bend your knees and roll to your right side. And then slowly make your way up to seated. Thank you so much for joining me for episode 277 of Namaste Yoga on bringing awareness to your inner critic, for tuning into radio station KRAZY. If you like today's show, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. If you know somebody else who you think would enjoy coming on this journey with us of transforming your inner critic, then please share the series with them as well. Thank you so much to everybody who is receiving value from this series and who has been sending us donations. Trinity and I have been busy writing thank you cards. I write the thank you cards and she writes the addresses on the envelopes and puts the stamps on and the return address label and everything. And I know a lot of you have been finding value from that, and that really touches me. It really does. I know that to go and take a course like this at somewhere like Kripalu can cost anywhere from $300 for a weekend or $1,000 for a week, depending on the course, and that is without accommodation. And you can do a course like this from the comfort of your own home without having to take any time off work or having to find any childcare. And so I know that that's incredibly valuable to you. So if you are finding value in this like other people, then we appreciate so much your donations. You can make a donation. What side is it on right here? And if that's not possible for you, then we do appreciate you giving your time by liking the video, subscribing the channel, if you watch in iTunes, leaving your 5-star ratings and reviews. And also it helps very much when you leave your comments as well. So today's question to respond to in the comments is, what was it like to bring awareness to the inner critic as a voice rather than a real authority? What was it like to tune into radio station KRAZY today? So thanks so much for leaving your comments. That really is a great way that you can give back to us as well, if you're receiving value from the teachings. The other way you can give back, if you resonated with any of these teachings and you want to receive more guidance on connecting with your inner critic, and you want to go further with this and receive support throughout the week, then the complimentary practices in the membership site for this week are the Warrior's Heart class. The Warrior's Heart class is a great way to bring courage to having the awareness to face your inner critic. And also, one of our members pointed out to me that the inner critic is a lot like Arjuna from the Bhagavad Gita. So I am comparing this week's class with who is Arjuna from the Bhagavad Gita series on the membership site. So those two links, if you're a member, are in the show notes. And if you'd like to become a member, you can just click on the link below. So we'd love to have you as a member, where we have a smorgasbord of all you can eat value-added content. And also we have a community of like-minded people from around the world. I interviewed one of our members this week, Alice, and she said it's like having a group of friends that she can talk to anytime about the things that interest her the most. She's never had that before in her life, and it's true. There's really nobody else in my life that I can talk to about something that interests me so much as I do have in the membership community. And also, you get support from me. I go on that membership site every day. I respond to all the posts, and so you'll receive support from me and also the other members on the membership site for your own personal practice. So that's an amazing thing to get for your yoga practice. So to draw in the benefits of our practice and offer them out to the world, we'll do the Loka Samastat Sukhino Bhavantu mantra, which means, may the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute in some way to the happiness and freedom of all. So make space with breath and a sigh. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free, and may the thoughts, words, and actions of my own life contribute in some way to the happiness and freedom for all. So I am sending you much love from beautiful British Columbia. We are in Beacon Hill Park today. May your joy be as deep as our Pacific Ocean. May you be as rooted as the trees in our forest. Tim, actually take a picture of that tree that everybody, pan to the tree that everybody was taking a picture of. Oh my gosh, all through the video. People were coming right up to my yoga mat today. I don't know, this must be on some list of people to take pictures of. So isn't that a beautiful tree? People were stopping all through the whole class to take pictures of this gorgeous tree. So may you be as rooted as the trees, and may you be as strong as our mountains. Om Shanti. Namaste.
Melissa would love to hear your questions and thoughts. Please leave your comments below the video. Thank you for your reviews on iTunes and YouTube. Your reviews help us to share yoga and a yoga lifestyle with others around the world. If you have a question for Melissa, you can leave a voice message at melissawest.com, and Melissa may answer it in an upcoming blog.